Good evening, wonderful people, great Biafrans, wherever you are on the face of this very planet. We welcome you to yet again another exciting edition of Radio Biafra live transmission on the eve of what we believe to be a landmark and historic review of the travesty, of the injustice, of the daylight robbery by APC and their cohorts in Imo State. We are presently standing at the precipice of disaster with what is happening in Delta State of Biafra land. The Janjaweed Fulani terror groups of every shade, every persuasion, and every color have descended upon the children of light like a biblical plague, seeking to exterminate, seeking to return us back to the Stone Age, seeking to eliminate and to eradicate our race in the hope of supplanting their kind from all across the Sahel in that very center of the earth. But we are not going to allow them. I will say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you. If at all there is anything good about our day-to-day experience, not just for Biafrans, but other tormented ethnic nationalities in the damnable zoological republic. I must thank each and every one of you, every organization, every group, every family unit, every zone, every local government, every state, every country, every nation that participated so movingly in the funeral rites accorded my parents just a few days ago on the 14th of February of 2020. I thank each and every one of you, and on behalf of the Kanu family, on behalf of IPOB Worldwide family, I thank you all from the bottom of my heart, and I pay a very, very special tribute to all those that ran the cordon of the army and the police, all those who defied the odds, all those who are hardcore, who were in a Faruku, that you shall see heaven and you shall witness Biafra on the face of this very earth. For because of you, we do what we do. Because of you, I will sacrifice everything sacrificable. Because of you, I will work ceaselessly more than I have ever done before to ensure that Biafra is restored in our time. Because you are the salt of the earth. The hardest of the hardcore were in Afaruku. If you are not there, that means you are not one of us. You don't know what it means to be a Biafran. We have dedicated ourselves to the restoration of this kingdom of heaven. Biafra is the kingdom of heaven upon the face of the earth. That is why Britain is incandescent with rage anytime we talk about Biafra. They understand what you do not know. That is the gospel we propagate on this very platform. That is the truth that we preach, that we are the chosen children of light, regardless of the fact that we find ourselves in the darkest recesses of Africa. I can assure you categorically that God cannot come down from heaven unless Biafra is restored. And that is what we are here to do. And we must do it. It is a divine mission. Once again, to all of you who, despite all the threats from Buratai, Adamu of police, And that Fulani boy called Okon, you went into Umuahia, you went into Afaruku. I hold you in very high regard and very high esteem. That is who we are. And as I told you, I will never, ever, ever let you down. It is impossible. I cannot. The day I think of letting Biafra down, Chukwukika Biama will strike me dead. Any day I think about it, I will commit suicide first. And you have not let me down either. All the way from when I was illegally arrested, this same family have been sacrificing. This same IPOB have been relentless in our pursuit for that which is right before man on earth and God in heaven. And that is Biafra, and we are going to get it. Do not despair. Do not worry. Our enemies will try. They will do everything within their powers to try to deflect or divert our attention away from that which matters, but we are resolute. They know every blessed day that we are their problem and their headache. And Elohim Chukwukika has given us that very glory, that very grace. And we can never, ever abandon it until Biafra is restored. You can see what is happening in the zoo today. The zoo is being eaten from within. It is eating itself from within. Get your pen and your paper. Tell those who are around you that the finest lecture on the face of the earth is about to take place. You must reason through everything I have to tell you tonight, because within it lies life itself and hope. We are going to win because we have triumphed already in the realm of the spirit. What we are waiting is the physical manifestation of the kingdom of earth on this, the kingdom of God on this very earth, which is Biafra. And it is coming. There is nothing Alamajiri can do about it. There is nothing Britain can do. I tell them categorically, I want them to try everything within their powers to stop the coming of Biafra. If they succeed, then there is no God in heaven. This same God that we worship, this same God that my mom and my father worship and the ancients before them, that changeth not, the same. Yesterday, today, and forevermore, we shall honor and we shall pray to this very evening in our very finest traditions. And I will pray in the language of heaven. Most of you may not understand it, but I can assure you that if you have a direct line to Angel Michael, Angel Gabriel, they will tell you this is the language they are speaking in front of the Most High Elohim this very minute, this very second. Chineke na nke bi n'igwe onye pụrụ ime ihe niile, onye mmụọ na mmadụ na-efe, onye oke ikuku na-erubere isi, onye ọ bụ naanị ya bụ mmalite na ọgwụgwụ, n'ihi na ị nọ tupu mgbe wee malite. Ọbịa mere eji na-etughị Chineke na nkusu niile nke ndị agha, n'okwu bekee akpa Lord of Hosts. Enweghị onye dịka onye ime eluigwe. Ọ bụ naanị gị bụ nwanne otu onye, Chineke nna nke ma mpụpụ na ọ bụ mbata ndị ya, Chineke nna nke ụmụ ogbenye, nwanne otu onye, onye anyị ji eme ọnụ, onye nji anyị isi ụtụtụ ehihie abalị n'ime ndụ m ụbọchị niile, Chineke nna nke na-adịghị agharịpụ ndị ya. Anyị wee were njem nke anyị onwe anyị na-aga wee nyefee gị n'aka, wee na-aja gị mma, wee na-ebuli gị elu, na-asị na nke ọma mee anyị ga-ekele gị, nke ọjọọ mee anyị kpọọ ha nsọ gị, n'ihi na ọ bụ naanị gị masịrị ihe niile. Na anyị wee na-ekele gị, wee na-asị gị anyị onwe anyị bụ ndị dị ndụ n'ala nke dị ndị eze ebube dị ngọzi, biko kwe ka iru gị wee chaa n'ebe anyị nọ, ka Biafra wee bịara anyị ọsọ 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 ọsọ, n'ihi na ụmụ gị anwụọkwanụ, ndị iro abatagokwanụ, etewekwana anyị ahụhụ. Echefukwara na ọ bụ naanị anyị bụ ndị gọziri agọzi n'elu ụwa niile. N'ime ọnọdụ anyị niile, anyị ga-enye aha nsọ gị otuto na nsọpụrụ na ịja ma anyị ga-ebuli gị elu, anyị ga-akpụ isi ala nye gị, n'ihi na ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye kwesịrị ntụkwasị obi. Ọ bụ naanị gị ka anyị na-efe. Chineke nna nke Abraham, Chineke nna nke Isaac, Chineke nna nke Jacob, Chineke nna nke Joseph, Chineke nna nke Samuel, Chineke nna nke Aaron, Chineke nna nke Moshe, onye osimiri uhie hụrụ wee tiwa ụzọ abụọ, ndị iro wee bata n'etiti igwe memile agha, otu a ka ọ ga-adị anyị na ndị izu n'oge na-adịghị anya ụmụ na Chineke nna bi n'igwe n'ihi na ịdịghị agbanwe ekpere anyị na-ekpere gị ichetara gị nna nke bụrụ dị ngọzi nkwa ikwere n'isi anyị n'ihi na okwu nsọ nke gị bụ ihe na amen gosi gị na ọnụ wepụta naghị eweghachi ya azụ ọzọ. Biafra bụ ndị gọziri agọzi n'elu ụwa ebe ọ bụla anyị gara ihe wee bata ọ bụ ka isi wee tụọ anyị ugo ịtụrụ anyị ugo na mmụọ tụọ anyị ugo na mmadụ. O nweghị ihe dị ndụ pụrụ ime anyị nna nke bụrụ dị ngọzi n'ihi na ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye mazuru ihe niile. Ọ bụ naanị gị bụ Chineke nna. Anyị wee na-asịle ndị ka isi wee na-ata ndị iro ahụhụ. Ha che na ọ banye onwe anyị ka ha na-emegide eze ebube dị ngọzi. Igwe were ọnụ wee chie ha n'ala ha wee na-eri anụ onwe ha n'ụbọchị nketa. Onye nwe m na Chineke nna bụ n'igwe n'ihi na ikpughere m ebe gwa m n'obodo zu gala n'iyi na ị ga-ejide ya wee tipie ya na Somalia ga-aka ya mma. Ihe a bụ ihe ị gosiri m na mmụọ isi m chere mụkpọ isi ala nye gị na ọ ga-apụta n'ihe. O wee na-emezu na ndụ n'ụbọchị nketa. Ha wee na-eri anụ onwe ha. Ha amaghị ebe ha na-aga. Ha amaghị ọpụpụ ha na mbata ha eze ebube dị ngọzi. Anyị wee na-eto gị wee na-aja gị mma wee na-asị n'ime ọnọdụ anyị niile onye nwe m na Chineke nna n'ime ọnọdụ anyị niile anyị ga-enye aha nsọ gị otuto na nsọpụrụ na ịja mma. Isi n'ala bụrụ nke gị mbuli aha nsọ gị elu bụ nke naanị gị n'ihi na onweghị onye ọbụla bụ onye ga-atụnyere gị. Onweghị ihe ọbụla bụ ihe ikere eke eji ama atụ sị na ọbịa yiri gị n'ihi na mmadụ dị ndụ apụghị ịhụ gị. Ịbụ Chineke nna. Ndị ọbụla na-efe gị n'ime mmụọ na eziokwu. Anyị wee na-akpọkwa ha nsọ gị n'abalị ya. Ụwa niile wee na-ege anyị ntị n'olu. Anyị wee na-efe gị ofufe na-asị na anyị ga-aga n'ọgbakọ ndị ike n'ụwa niile wee meghee ọnụ anyị wee kwupụta eziokwu nke gị ezi ebube dị ngọzi. Isi anyị ga na-ekwu eziokwu mgbe niile n'ime ndụ anyị agbanyeghị ihe ọ ga-eri na eziokwu anyị na-ekwu bụ eziokwu nke eluigwe tụrụ aka anyị ga-ekwu. Ọ ya ha na-ekwu n'ụbọchị nketa na Chineke nna bi n'igwe. Anyị wee na-eto gị wee na-aja gị mma wee na-agọzi aha nsọ gị si gị ezi ebube dị ngọzi n'ihi aja niile nke anyị nwe anyị na-achụọla. Anyị achụọla aja nke ọbara chụọ aja nke elu wee chụọ nke ala. Onye nwe m na Chineke nna ụmụ gị wee na-atọ n'ahụhụ isi anyị n'oge na-adịghị anya na ị ga-esepụ anyị n'ọbụ nke anyị onwe anyị nọ n'ime ya na ị ga-ememira ndị iro anyị niile na anyị ga-anọ ndụ etu ọwụwere anya abụọ wee hụ ya. Anyị wee na-asị mma mmadụ gị Chineke nna nke bi n'igwe. Ọ bụ naanị gị nwe ụtụtụ naanị gị nwe nsọpụrụ naanị gị wee ja mma site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi. Ise eziokwu Chineke ka anyị na-agbasa ebe a. For those who may not understand, that is the language of heaven, the oldest language on this very earth. When I told people, when I explained to people that democracy started in Biafra, they never believed me. Allow me to clarify. Democracy that you have today started in Igbo land. Why did it start in Igbo land? Because we are the children of heaven. Nobody can date when our progenitors started inhabiting that part of the world. That was why when Britain came, Britain said they have no history. And when they were messing themselves about in Nsukka, I said to my father, I am traveling to England to go and study. And he asked me, why do you want to go to England? I said, because that is the source of our problem. And for us to find a solution, we must go to the source of the problem and deal with it. That is how we came to this very place. And believe you me, we have found the solution and we are applying it this very day. Therefore, I say to all of you who are gathered around your listening device this very evening, that Biafra, as I say to you always, is imminent. And there is nothing, I repeat, there is nothing our enemies can do about it. I want to start this program this very evening by playing a very short clip for you. What white people are saying about you that you do not know. We are all Biafrans. Every Biafran clan is Igbo. Allow me to repeat, because Igbo means the ancient, Igbo, the very oldest people on the face of the earth, the very ancient people. I need you to understand this very, very clearly. Everything I preached on Radio Biafra in times gone by till now is the truth. Irrefutable. Everything I tell you must come, I said must come to pass. I want to play for you what a white man said. Those who are studying, which ties into our program this very evening about the Supreme Court, I will dissect it. I will cut it open for the world. I will shame the Sharia Supreme Court of the zoo, that the world may understand how foolish they are, that the world may understand that the judiciary you have been subjugated to is a worse fraud than the APC government in Abuja. But because people do not want to shake off the cloak of ignorance and stupidity. And I also want to remind you that that is exactly the reason why black people were taken as slaves all over the world. The only race to be sold and marketed like commodity on an industrial scale since mankind came on the face of this very planet. Why was that? Any day people can sit down and ask themselves that very simple question. Why was it that only black Africans were marketed like commodity all over the world? That day they will understand where the problem starts from. And that day they will begin to profess solutions to them. That is why we are here. You cannot listen to Radio Biafra and your life will be the same, because love us or hate us, we speak the truth. The very simple truth. You can run around, you can deceive yourself, you can lie to yourself, but ultimately you come, as we have always done over the years, to the inescapable conclusion that these very people, this very radio station, this very family, this very IPOB is always right. You may not like how we do it, but we are always right. I want everybody to listen very, very carefully to what this man has to say, because I am a black man from Africa. When I preach it, you don't understand. When I tell you we are learned, more learned than all the professors in the zoo put together. Some of you don't believe me, but tonight you will believe me, because we are learned. We know everything. That is why they are afraid of Biafra, because I can assure you, I swear to God Almighty in heaven, you give us Biafra today, you come there in only 12 months. I telling you, you will swear that is not Africa. And they know it. Our enemies understand it, because they know we would put them to shame. Should Biafra come, every other race in the southern hemisphere will be in shame. That is what they are afraid of. I want you to listen very, very carefully. Listen very, very carefully.
To amplify that, we believe that there's a possibility that the international community can be brought to bear, the UN, from the Declaration of Human Rights all the way through. This is a very, very serious matter. There's something that I didn't mention, and I hesitate to mention because I am not Nigerian, although I think Dr. Lloyd has bestowed upon me the honorary title of Nigerian man. And we had a conversation. It wasn't heated, but he acted like he was going to revoke my Nigerian man credentials, causing my 13-year-old son, who was in the car with me, to be very distraught. He said, "Dad, you have to stay a Nigerian man." But talking about children, when I was a little boy, when I was 7 years old, growing up in the middle of nowhere, Florida, in a swamp, closest town was 30 miles away. The first thing that happened in the world that brought to bear to me that maybe things weren't always right, maybe things weren't always good, wasn't the Vietnam War. Because I was in the South. It was correct and just, and we were the warriors. It was the Biafra War. And I remember very distinctly thinking, this just isn't right. This isn't right. This is a great people. It is a great nation. There was a country. And then later when I learned, something most people don't know, that there is a plausible argument that democracy began in Igbo land.
Igbo land gave the word democracy from a white man in South Florida.
It was written by the Igbo people. The very first democracy that involved self-governance, that worked for everybody, not just the Greek wealthy, but everybody, was in Igbo land. And the very first democracy that permitted women leaders was in Igbo land. The West.
I want to stop there for those who are ignorant to understand this very, very clearly tonight. We gave the world everything. That was what the British saw when they attacked Arochukwu. And after the war, we fought them. They said you have no history because of what they saw. We gave the world democracy before the Greeks came. I was telling you this right from 2012. Some of you never believe because you are not educated enough to understand what we preach on this platform. Now that a white man is saying it, and I want it to be posted everywhere, please. Chinas, and make sure Amaka gets hold of it to post it so that the world can hear what we've been saying. We are very special. That is why they hate us. That is why they hate our cousins in Israel, the Jews of Israel. That is why they hate Jews all over the world. Because we are blessed people from God. We gave the world democracy. People talk about women's rights, about women that cook in the kitchen. But you heard him say, out of all the research they have been doing, before the white man came into this world, our mothers had their freedom. And as I always speak to people on Radio Biafra, when my mother is talking outside, my father doesn't speak. Women are the people that actually run homes across Biafra land. Once your mother ties two-piece wrapper with a blouse and headscarf, you are one of us. You are a Biafran. Now you have heard a white man say it. Perhaps you can now believe me. Perhaps you can now understand that indeed we are highly learned. After many years, to tell you how miraculous this God we worship, how miraculous this God is, to let you understand how marvelous God is, at every step of the way, everything I have said on Radio Biafra, somebody from somewhere will justify it. That is why Satan went into some people and turned their heads. They are now doing boy work for the ex-harlot and sex trafficker, Loretta Onochia, working with Abakiari. Our people are blind. But here on Radio Biafra, your eyes will be opened by force. You must listen. You will hear. You will learn. And as a result, you will become wise. Is it not very clear now? Which history book teaches you that? These are the people fighting the good cause. White people that saw the travesty of justice by the so-called Supreme Court. And they came out in their numbers in America to say enough is enough. And then they went back and did a bit of research on Biafran people, on Igbo people. He now discovered that they started practicing democracy before the white man was born. That these people, all these women's rights, give women their rights, all that rubbish, that these guys, they had it in abundance. Women were in very powerful positions. The two encounters the British had, 1929 and 1947, who made it happen? Is it not our mothers that made it happen? Is it our fathers? No, of course not. It's our women. And that was why I told you that any day our mothers come out in this very struggle, then it's over. And now they have come out. And I can assure you that Biafra is a lot more closer than you think. We must proceed. That is just a taster of what is to come, to let you understand that if you do not listen or hearken to what we preach on Radio Biafra, then your life is empty. Completely empty. You are useless. You are nothing. You can rant all you like, pretend all you like, but ultimately everybody gravitates around that very issue that IPOB is pointing to. And what is that? Freedom for everybody. I said for everybody. Let everybody be free. We give you the oil and gas. Take it and do with it whatever you like. Let everybody be free. Then people can sit down and begin to coalesce if they wish to do so. But now, the only solution is freedom. Eventually, they will come to it. If they tell you in this lab that Iwanyan will come and be talking about forming a security outfit in the East, will you believe it? When we floated BSS, if they tell you that the likes of Fulani slaves, these are the hardcore slaves of the Fulani you have in our midst. Efulefu, number one, the champion of the Efulefu. If they tell you that they will come around to believing in BSS, will you believe it? Even our brothers, the Yorubas, if they tell you that they will turn around to believe in what we are doing, will you believe it? Of course not. But eventually, everybody is going there. When I said Nigeria will be worse than Somalia, did you believe it? The answer is no. Today is worse than Somalia. So eventually, after all said and done, after all the huffing and puffing, eventually they come round to that starting position of IPOB. That the zoo must fall. What I tell you is not what we made up. It is not what we concocted. I am giving you the news as reported by zoo newspapers. In case you're wondering, where is zoo? Zoo is Nigeria. It is a zoo because it was created by the British. It was not created by any African, not created through conquest or through any natural process of the emergence of a nation. Somebody came and said, you, from today, your name is Nigeria. Their flag is green, white, green. And from that day, they started jumping up and down like monkeys, which they are. They say, I insult them. I'm not insulting you, but if you believe in Nigeria, you are one of the greatest idiots alive because it makes no sense to anybody. Sit down and think about it. Every day I preach this very gospel. I said, sit down and think about the logic. How many black people went to Europe to go and build nations? Zero. How many black people went to South America to build nations? Zero. It's only you, because you suffer from an incurable sense of inferiority complex. You need a white man to validate your existence. You need a white man to create a country for you. You need a white man to organize you before you can be human beings. That makes you their property and their pet. That is why you are in a zoo called Nigeria, because you cannot reason. No, if anybody who comes and says, oh, this is our country, I can categorically assure you that person is not educated enough. Not educated enough. Why are things happening in Nigeria the way it is happening today? Why is it happening? Why? Ask yourself why. People, oh, there is a terrorism in Bauchi. They have killed somebody in Gombe. There are kidnappers along Zaria, Kaduna Road. Oh, we no longer pass through Abuja and Kaduna. Oh, God help us. Oh, in Jesus' name, help us. Oh. You run to your local pastor, maybe in Suleiman or maybe in Baka or these APC preachers. And they say, oh, it's by the grace of God, yes. Kidnappers on the road. It's by the grace of God those bandits didn't kill you. Meanwhile, what do you have in your pocket? You say, oh, after running, I only have about 2,000. Oh, bring it and sow seed here to thank God for saving your life. And you foolishly pay because you are black, you are African, and you are very, very stupid. Ask yourself this question: why is Nigeria bedeviled by all these problems? Why after one problem there is another? Have you ever sat down to ask yourself this question? A country that oil and gas comes from the ground, they export it and they import refined petrol. They have moribund 4 refineries that is not working. Ask yourself this very question: are you normal? Look around you and say to yourself, every day I'm in Nigeria and every day I'm in Nigeria. Ask yourself, am I not making a mockery of myself? Only then will you be able to see the light as we have seen here. The world is listening. I only gave them short notice that I'm going to come on air, because if I give a very long notice, they'll try and jam our system. They'll try and cut it and all the rest of it. I gave a short notice. First, to thank this very wonderful family of IPOB worldwide for what they have done, not just for me, but for my parents, and will continue to do until the end of time. Because I tell you, from their womb will come Biafra, as was foretold before I was born. One day I will tell you that very story, but those that know, they know. The magic of the Supreme Court of Nigeria said they based their result on 388 polling units. This is what is in contention tomorrow. I'm doing this because that the world may understand and will hold the Supreme Court of the zoo called Nigeria to account. These are black people with wigs on their head, horse hair from England. Their ancestors never used to give judgment like that in the past. Judgment was based on truth. Hence, Eziokwu Buntu, truth is life. These days, what do you have? Once you put that wig on your head, you can talk whatever rubbish that comes into your brain, which is what a whole Supreme Court did. Supreme Court. Let us look at their idiocy for the world to understand how useless Nigeria is. For the world to understand that when you have somebody called a Nigerian in front of you, and there is a monkey nearby, or baboon or chimpanzee, it is better for you to deal with a monkey or a baboon than to deal with a Nigerian. A Nigerian is the embodiment of stupidity. I want to prove it by virtue of a judgment that came out of their own Supreme Court. They claim they went to school. I'm a lawyer. I went to law school. I did this. I'm an engineer. All of them are useless. Oh, very, very useless, I can assure you. Useless to the core. I want to prove it tonight. Funny enough, or to the shame of the zoo, the whole world is listening. If not that this man listened to Radio Biafra, I'm sure many years ago, he wouldn't have done his own research to come to the conclusion that indeed democracy started in Igbo land. And when I say Igbo land, I mean the whole of Biafra. Allow me to repeat, because I can see this compartmentalization. Everybody's trying to say it's an Igbo, Southeast. It's rubbish. I said this during my last broadcast, but they never learn. All these states they created, all this dichotomy, Igbo, you are a Jews are doing their own thing, Urobo use, let's do our own thing, is a very clever ploy devised by the caliphate to divide all of us. Because they know that united, we stand very strong. Divided, we fall. And we have fallen since after the war. And they've been feeding large on it till this very day. That stupidity has come to an end with IPOB. What I witnessed during the burial of my parents have convinced me that our people are far more intelligent than we give them credit for. Do you know that Bakassi chiefs were in my house? Banke chiefs were in my house? Do you know that Idoma chiefs were there? A Gala traditional rulers were there. Are you aware of that? Every clan in Biafra land was in my house. But when all these noisemakers are talking and writing their rubbish on social media and Yoruba papers, people, you think our people don't reason things through. Do you know that Ogoni chiefs came to my house? That Biafra is one. NTA would not show it, but Biafra is one. Channels will not report it. They have seen that Biafra is one. It doesn't matter what they write. It doesn't matter the categorization in the newspapers. It doesn't matter the way they seek to analyze the news. It is our business. We know who we are. The child knows the mother knows the child. We know we belong to Biafra first and foremost. All this division, they want to take a Jordan. But when Fulani was raping and taking over Hausa land, you never read that in school, did you? Let's go back to the stupid, useless Nigeria. They say insult him. He's uncouth. He is not civilized. Because you're a fool. If you're an idiot, I speak to you like an idiot. That's the only way you can understand. I'm not here to try to massage fools who cannot reason very well. That is the problem with Africa. There is no self-criticism. If there's something, oh no, is this, is that? No. I criticize you with facts and figures. I am dismantling the Supreme Court of Nigeria tonight, live on air, with facts and with figures. Not innuendo and things that I just conjured up from their own mouth. I condemn you with what comes out of your mouth. Not what I made up in my brain due to envy and jealousy. I'm sure some of them would like to be Nnamdi Kanu, but they cannot be, can they? We are born for this very mission. There is no other thing. My parents have done their job. What else are they going to add? Biafra have gained traction to the point whereby, what else are they going to do? Is it to keep cooking for IPOB when they come to my house? Their job is done. They have finished the assignment and they are gone. That Biafra may come. Let us look into the magic numbers. If you ask Oshomole, whatever his name is, he will tell you it's 388 polling booths. I want the world to listen very carefully to how useless an average Nigerian is. How hopeless they are. I know, of course, if you go to Abuja, all of them are listening to Radio Biafra. Everybody is listening, of course. They know that this is the gospel of truth. I will tell you the truth. They say that the votes allocated to PDP. This is the analysis by independent bodies. How can Supreme Court allocate votes to APC? Hope Uzodinma. that is actually higher than INEC certified permanent voter cards collected. Oh my goodness. I don't know, maybe this English is very bad. That is why I want Biafra, so people can make laws and talk in their native language. They said that, let me break it down in layman's terms. They said that 4 people registered to vote and 4 people went to vote and 4 people voted. Their votes were counted and their votes was obviously, the results made available to the whole world to see. And they went to court, Supreme Court for that matter, where you have learned Lord, High Lord with their wig, all this Lord and Lord, that or that, my Lord, as the court pleases. They went to court. Do you know what the court said? The court said, I think 9 people voted. And we are telling them, no, it's not 9. These are the records. Only 4 people voted, only 4. They said, no, it's 9. In our view, it is 9. How can you be in Abuja, in Ashokoro, going to court to collect money and deliver a fake judgment? How can you know the number of people that voted in a polling station in Imo State? If INEC doesn't give you, supply you the figures, how are you going to know? How? Just tell me how. They insisted. It's 9 people that voted. Now let us look at the actual figures. The number of people from the 388 polling units. I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty of it, the stupidity of it, because white people will be laughing at us. I'm telling you. Sometimes people say, oh, but whites are racist. I say, I believe in racism. I believe in it. If you don't like it, go back to your country and make it look very beautiful. You're telling me that if I were to be an American U.S. immigration officer, after seeing this stupidity by your Supreme Court, you come and tender your Nigerian passport. I say, Nigerian, I will deport you back. Because you're a product of nonsense. You are a product of stupidity. You are a product of iniquitous judgment. I'm telling you, I will deport you back. So you go back to the zoo and enjoy more of this garbage. You have people who say they are learned, we are intelligent, think tank, civil society. What are you doing? You people are quiet and this travesty is going on. Total registered voters is 254,230 on the contentious 388 polling units. Understand this simple arithmetic. INEC, by law, you are supposed to organize voters and give them voters cards and PVC and all that. You remember the famous PVC? Total registered voters is 254,230. Write it down. It's a simple arithmetic. Plus, minus, divide, multiply. Simple arithmetic. Very simple arithmetic. Simple sum. That's what one can do. Simple plus, minus, divide, and subtract. Just simple arithmetic. You're telling me that 7 judges, how many were the judges? I'm 7 or 12. You're telling me that 12 judges, they said they went to Cambridge, they went to Harvard, they went to Yale. You don't know simple arithmetic of 254,230 minus 201,000. It's simple maths. They don't know. They're judges, Supreme Court. He's a son. They are the elite. These are the baboons in your law court, making your life a misery. No wonder God gave, how should I say, Satan gave you Boko Haram and the Fulani Janjaweed, all the terror groups in Africa, to show you, to remind you of how stupid you are. Do you think Boko Haram is doing what they do for nothing? It's to remind you of how hopeless you are as a Nigerian, because you're useless. Because it's not an insult. I'm doing you a favor. Just go back and repent. Go back and repent from your sins. All of you going to court tomorrow. I'm doing this program to remind you of what is expected of a human being tomorrow, not a monkey or a baboon in a zoo. Listen carefully, please. INEC produced certified copies of voter registration cards in all the 388 polling units that is under contention that APC claimed they won. Listen again. Total registered voters is 254,000. That is 254,230, which is, I'll have to break it down because we are now in kindergarten. These are judges, but let me make them the world understand how useless they are. Now, total registered voters, 254,230. Now, how many people that registered came to collect their PVC? They said 201,883. Now, listen. So, the total votes cast, according to them, to High Court, is 215,491, which makes it 13,199 more votes, or should I say more PVCs than INEC actually issued. Now, what I want to ask the Supreme Court is this. Did you issue those PVCs from Abuja? You called people from Imo State, come to Abuja and take PVC. Is that the case? If that is the case, then go and sustain hope Uzodinma in power tomorrow. But if you did not usurp the duties of INEC, if you did not issue extra voter cards, PVC, then may shame be upon you and upon all the lies and misjudgments you have presided over all your life. May shame be your portion. You should recuse yourself from the bench. All of you involved in Imo State should retire completely because you're not judges. You're not even monkeys. You are something worse. You have no brain in your skull. So you are telling me that 201 PVCs were collected, 201,883. And in your calculation, this is figure from INEC. You added extra 13,199. Do you know that this is now Supreme Court, not INEC, now allocating votes? Oh, let us give them a bit here. Oh, let's take Bayelsa from them so that in Imo State it will be okay. After all, we need a foothold. When I told you before that Owerri is the epicenter of Biafra, you didn't believe me? Go and look at your maps. Go and look at the coordinates. That is why Alamajiri, Fulani Caliphate, they want Owerri at all costs. Some of you don't know this, but I do. I know. We know. Some of you cannot reason. They are prepared to sacrifice Bayelsa to get a foothold in Imo through Hope Uzodinma. Hey, he's from my village. He's Town of Hope. He's nobody should. These are the idiots that the devil have sent to destroy our people by planting darkness in the center of the kingdom of heaven on this earth. They allocated, the Supreme Court of Nigeria allocated votes by themselves, gave votes to units. Now, when you look at the votes they allocated to all those polling units, they are more than what the INEC registered as even registered voters. So I'm asking Supreme Court, where did you get your figures from? From who? I'm sure tomorrow they will answer that question. I want to give you an example, very simple example. There's a place called Eziama, Okpala, in Omoba village in Eziama. The registered voters in Eziama, Okpala is 400. Listen carefully. Number of registered is number 69, they call it. The number of registered voters in this very polling unit is 492 people. 492 adults registered to vote. Do you know the score of APC in that polling unit? 819. 819. PDP got 7 votes. In other words, the votes allocated to APC is more than twice the number of people registered on INEC's own register to vote. Do you see the mess Nigeria is in? Do you see why anytime I see somebody saying I'm a Nigerian, I don't know what to do to them. I'm telling you, I don't even converse with them. Once you say you're a Nigerian, I simply avoid you. I know you're a moron, you're a fool. You have no brain in your skull. This is your country, yes? You are allocating, you are rigging votes for APC. That is now more than the number of registered voters according to INEC. INEC, in the so-called Independent National Electoral Commission. Of course, it's headed by Janjaweed. What do you expect? What is it that Fulani, what are they running in this that is working very well? Give me one example. You can't give me, can you? Is it NMPC? Tell me one thing a Fulani man is the chairman or president that is working very well. Look at your zoo. Run in the name of a dead Buhari. What is happening to at least my parents got a befitting burial. He's in a grave somewhere in Saudi Arabia, like a pauper and a wretched soul that he is. This is your country. This is the Nigeria some of you pledge allegiance to every day. This is the Nigeria you say you're proud of. This is this is from your, not from an alikalik, not from a Sharia court, not from a customary court. This is Supreme Court of Nigeria. This is the result. Unbelievable. APC scored twice the number of registered voters. So I ask the Supreme, your lordships, where did you get your figures from? Did you give PVCs to people of Eziama? Unbelievable. Let's go to another one. It's called number 377. It is a place called Umuozu in Umuchoko. This polling station is at Umuchoko Town Hall. How many registered voters do they have? 367. Now you can guess how many votes APC scored. APC scored exactly the same number of voters in Umuchoko Hall, and then PDP scored 4. So I'm asking their lordship, their eminence and their lordship in the High Court, including Aeroplane Turner, Tanko Mohammed. Please, where did you get the 4 votes for PDP from? This is Supreme Court of Nigeria. The apex, they call it the apex. When you see them, right, journalists and it's apex court of the apex court of Nigeria. Apex. You think they have human beings in it? I want to ask them. The world should ask the Supreme Court of Nigeria, where did you get the 4 extra votes for PDP from? From where? It's a simple question. From where? There's a place called Umunkwo. It took place at a place called the community primary school at Umuopara. Registered voters 526. Do you know how much APC scored? APC scored 5. They clean sweep. Nobody voted for PDP in that place. But I want you to another caveat. In all these places that are saying APC swept, there is no single APC member of House of Assembly from it. There's only Hope Uzodinma they voted for, but forgot to vote for APC candidate to go to the House to support him. I don't know if I'm making any sense at all. 526 people registered to vote in Umunkwo. APC swept the whole 526, and PDP got 2. So again, I ask Tanko Aeroplane Turner, their Sharia Chief Justice, where did you get the 2 votes for PDP from? And the list continues. And the list continues. Unbelievable. Now I want to shock you. There's a place called Obudi, Aaron, the Central School Square in Omosa, 2, polling unit 12. The number of registered, INEC certified voters, registered, their name is on the INEC register. They have their PVC. Registered voters by the Independent National Electoral Commission, 449. Now listen to this. You know how many votes APC got? 780. So APC got twice the amount of registered voters. I want anybody to tell me, even in hell, where Lucifer is the overseer. Can Satan defend this? Lucifer, that is the overseer of hell. Do you think that Lucifer himself can defend this type of figures? Well, some of you are working about it. I'm a Nigerian. We are in Nigeria. The things will get better. Do you see why I call Nigeria a zoo? Do you see why I say that you Nigerians, you're animals? Do you see the reason why? I didn't just wake up one morning to insult anybody. I'm just telling you the truth. Do you see how foolish all of you are, Nigerians? Do you see how the whole world is laughing at all of you called Nigerians? Do you see why black people have no respect anywhere around the world? Because our stupidity and ignorance precedes us. It goes before us. You're telling me that people who claim they are learned, my learned friend, my learned sister, my learned cousin, you can see their stupidity right in front of you. INEC, INEC is the principal witness. How many people did you register to vote in Obudi? Aaron. 449. Okay, because of that, we are now allocating APC 780 votes. But my lords, where did you get the extra votes from? Almost double. No, it's just this is Nigeria. And as my lord pleases, they bang their rod on the table, and that's it. Do you see why Nigeria is a zoo? Is it tomorrow now you say, oh, IPOB, how they insult people? Do you see why we insult you? Do you see why? Can you actually look at your own stupidity in the face and recognize that all your Nigerian nonsense, Nigerian, is because of the oil and gas in Biafra land, nothing more, nothing less. Not that you love each other. Nobody. They are all pretending. Do you love your neighbor as you love yourself? No. If they did, there is no way the Fulanese can sponsor 5 terror groups at the same time to kill you, take over your land and your property so that their relatives from the Sahel can come and occupy it. They don't. A serving senator said on the floor of the Senate in Nigeria, I don't know who my constituents are. Anybody can come in from anywhere and go in the Alamajiri sector and register and become a Nigerian. Some of you in the South are busy killing yourself, trying to define Nigeria for Alamajiri that does not understand what the hell you're talking about. INEC, Supreme Court of Nigeria, my learned justices. Tomorrow you see them filing out. Like, you know, Eruru, I don't know, is the purple stage of what's it called, of a weevil? Eruru. You see that they'll be finding out like Eruru from Ongwatrada. That's like I said, it's my language, please. It's my language. You know, like, you know, a weevil. You know, the people stage of a weevil, or is it the larva stage? You see that fight with their white wig dragging on the floor. You think they have something in their brain, but there's nothing. See them here, inflating figures, inflating. Number of registered voters, 591. Dear me. Number of voters given to APC, 902. Is this in Owerri local government? The same thing. In Owerri West local government area of Imo State, the number of votes BVC collected 12,803. How come 18,343 people cast their vote? You said that some people were voting 2, 3, 4 times, which means it was rigged. That is why they need to cancel it. I can read on and on and on and on. It's disgraceful. Hey, Ohajiego, my local government area, PVC collected 17,966 votes cast according to the Supreme Court, 19,728. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is not just fraud. Nigeria is telling you that you are foolish. Nigeria is telling you that you are. All the results are here. Unbelievable. Easily Hitembi local government area, PVC collected 506, votes recorded 520. Have you heard of such rubbish before? And with a straight face, they sat down to say, INEC, where are you? INEC, are you here? He raised his hand. Yes, my lord, I'm here. Okay, give the certificate now to Uzodema. And he said, as the court pleases. Because they are practicing what they do not understand. All these morons with their white wig, they practice what they don't know. Before the white man, mind you, I'll tell you this again, you know, trial by jury, that they use in trials abroad in civilized places, they copied also from Biafra. In Biafra land, no, forget about all this Eze monarchy of which my father was one. Forget all that nonsense. That's not how we used to do things in those days. So rubbish is a new thing. All these things you're seeing were brought by the white man through warrant chief, Kotuma, all those people. No one person can sit in judgment to determine the guilt or innocence of any man. The Igbo people started this first before any other person on this earth. They call it Igbo, the jury, to go and confer and come back and give us the verdict. I grew up in the village, so I know. My father was a traditional ruler, so I know. No one person can. When I was growing up, no one person sat down to say, oh, "You come to me, tell us what happened. You tell us what happened." Never, unless they come to you out of their own volition because you have a very credible standing in the community. That's all. But proper cases, guilt and innocence, never. You have a jury of independent-minded people. They ask them to go out, confer, bring us a verdict. All these were destroyed because you want to belong to a place called Nigeria. Because for you to belong to Nigeria, you need to jettison and abandon everything that your ancestors taught you. Those are the things we're trying to reverse, that's all. Not that we hate anybody, we tell you the truth. Some say that it's not an insult, it's the truth. Easily he can be say 506 PVC collected. Votes recorded 520. That is Nigeria for you. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This person did a very great job, actually. I want to tell you what, I wasn't in the zoo court. What am I going there to do? But I'll tell you what the police officer that was the principal witness for Hope Uzodinma, what he said in court. There is something they subpoenaed him in exhibit NNN1, whatever that means. And maybe Nigeria 1 to NN8, Nigeria 18. Maybe that's the name of the form. This is what the man said. I was asked to produce 388 forms, EC8As, retrieved by the police officers. I have some of the forms. I don't have 388 forms. The total number I brought is 368. I cannot lay hands on 20 forms. But I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. The whole world is listening. They asked this a lot by this police recruit. After planning with Abba Kyari and the Supreme Court, aeroplane turn Atanko Muhammad how to rig the election, they said they'll bring one policeman to the court and they will ask the policeman to please confirm that he has this form they call 388 from 388. He said, no, to produce 388 forms of what they call EC8A. The name of the form is EC8A because they had packaged the rigging. Listen, this is happening in court. Oh, they packaged the rigging at the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Now they're using one hopeless policeman, probably on drugs, on tramadol. He's from the Caliphate. After sniffing glue and tramadol, where they called him to come and tell them exactly what is happening. This is what he said, his submission. He said, I was asked to go and bring 388 forms, but I don't have 388 forms. I only have 368. I cannot get another 20 to complete it, the 388. Now the question is this. Every court, even a child knows that every court in the world, you rely on the evidence in front of you to come to a judgment or to a decision or to a ruling. The policeman they are relying on to rig Hope Uzodinma into power, they asked him to go and forge these EC8A forms, 388. He managed to only photocopy 368 and brought it to court. That's not minding. But because APC and Abba Kyari have already determined with Tanko that they are going to rig 388 polling stations, they still went ahead, despite the damning evidence from this policeman. The policeman said, I only submitted 368. I cannot lay hands on the other 20. So I want to ask the Supreme, the apex court, the apex, they love that name, apex. The apex, I want to ask them, on whose evidence are you completing it or making it up to 388 forms? When the policeman under oath said, I can only find 368. I don't know how to describe this because it's becoming very shameful. Very, very shameful. I did this program tonight for the world to understand that when we say the zoo must fall, it's for a reason. Not that we hate anybody. You can see how useless Nigeria is. Have you seen how this is the apex court? If they can be doing this, can you imagine what an ordinary Alamajiri Babiala is doing on the road? If people who claim they're learned, they went to Yale, to Harvard, to Boston, to Oxford, to Cambridge, to Princeton. If you ask them, they're to Toronto. Most of the certificates, of course, forged. Some of them quota judges. How can a policeman, a law so-called, let us give him respect, law enforcement officer, say that he only brought 368 forms, but you're basing your judgment on 388 forms? How is that possible? Where did you get the other 20 from to make up the number? Now you understand how foolish Nigeria is? Very, very daft indeed. That is done for you. So we are reminding them that tomorrow the whole world is watching. Hope Uzodinma cannot be there. If the best they can do is to call, I'm just giving them a way out. I want to advise the Supreme Court of the Zoo. I'm giving you free advice. The best thing to do is to say that the election has, due to so many irregularities or inconsistencies in the results, because of that, the whole thing is nullified. Call for fresh elections. That's the best you can do. Or the least you can do. The best is to reverse the judgment and give it to Emeki Hedja. But you will be too ashamed to do that because you know the world is watching. They'll ask you, how come you got to this decision in the first place anyway? But I'm sure what they're going to do tomorrow is the usual PDP dictatorial way of doing things. Also, should I say APC dictatorial way of doing things? They will tell you it doesn't matter, our decision stands. And what are you going to do? Nothing. You'll do nothing. You say, oh, we wait till let him take it now. We'll wait until the tray. That's what you will say, isn't it? That's what some of you will say. Shame on all of you. They must reverse that very decision. We must move very, very speedily this very evening because we only have about an hour left. It is now 8 minutes past 8 p.m. in the blessed land of Biafra. This is a live presentation. This is Radio Biafra. We are live and we are direct. And heaven is bearing us witness. And I must say this very evening for those that doubted us before. As I said, every time, everything gravitates down to what IPOB is saying. And you'll be shocked. Do you know how you'll be shocked this evening? Because they have removed it. If you go to Vanguard website now, they have removed it. This very news. And what is that news? That Governor Okowa, do you know why they removed this very news from Vanguard website? Because I'm sure Powerful issued a statement. Our press secretary our spokesperson issued a statement quoting Governor Okowa. And because we have now informed the US government and US senators and the Congress people, do you know what they have done? Nigeria government have now put pressure on Vanguard newspaper to remove the news. They've removed it. Everybody saw it earlier today. Herdsmen attack. Okowa accuses soldiers of aiding terrorists in Nigeria. When I told you that Nigerian soldiers are terrorists, you didn't believe me. Now they have removed the news because we wrote about it this evening. It's no longer there. It is no longer there. When I told on this Radio Biafra, I remember very vividly. I'm sure it was some clever person will come up with the broadcast and when I made it in a very short clip. I'm sure of that. I told you that, you see, Nigeria, this is to remind the US government, the British government that is supporting them, and every other person in the EU, that you're wasting your time and your money. All that nonsense, let's help Nigeria. They are the Nigerian soldiers are terrorists themselves. Forget about the recruitment of influx of Boko Haram. No, not at all. That was their plan originally. When El Rufai paid people to go and kill in Kaduna, I knew that the army of Nigeria, didn't you see the helicopter supplying them weapons in the bush? Did you not see it? So how come people are now surprised? A whole governor, he can no longer endure it. And from today, I have respect for Kowa, Ifeanyi Kowa. He said, army is the one helping to kill Biafrans. And when we want to go and support and defend it, no, we are Delta. We are from Delta. We are Nigerians. Do you understand it? Do you understand me now? Go and ask Ifeanyi Kowa what he said. Vanguard, out of fear, they have removed it. It's no longer on their side. They have removed it. Because IPOB alluded to what the governor said. The governor of a state that swore allegiance to the caliphate. He's telling them, you have killed my people so much, I can no longer endure it. Your army, when I call them Fulani Nigerian army, my Yoruba friends, that right, will delete that. No, it's not that. Have you seen the proof? You don't know who's a terrorist anymore. You don't know who's a law enforcement officer. When Nigerian army have decided to go and join Fulani terrorists, do you think you have anything left? The zoo is imploding. I told you, I warned you. It is either you support Biafra or you will see this Elohim, this Chukwukika Biama will call upon all. You will see what he will do to it. I feel sorry for Nigeria. I'm telling you the truth. Then you will know that the God we serve is very strong. I'm telling you, write it down. What is the time now? For goodness sake. Time now is 12 past 8 p.m. in Biafra land. Write it down. 12 minutes past the top of the hour, wherever you are. Write it down on a piece of paper. The time, the date, and say, I told you so. You see God in heaven, the creator of everything that you see around you, the giver of life. I am telling you that God, the God that I worship, this same God that changeth not, will destroy Nigeria beyond recognition unless Biafra is allowed to go. Write it down. So when it's happening, I will tell you, as I always remind you, that I told you this. On the 17th day of February, Monday, exactly 30 minutes past 8 p.m. in Biafra land. Write it down. Everything I tell you is what heaven. If I have message from heaven, I tell you it will happen, and I will come back and I will tell you it has happened. I'm not an APC prophet. They give you expo, Supreme Court expo. I tell you what will happen before it happens, with clarity and vividness. I don't give you prophecies in generalized language. I am very precise. I point it out. I tell you, this is what is going to happen. I told you that the Fulanis will come. I said they will come. They will kill you. They will rape your mothers. They will abduct your daughters. They will take your land. Before the dead Buhari came into power, I told you in 2014 what they are going to do. Let me even see if I can find that very quotation, that the world may bear me witness. That I want anybody to come out and say, oh, Nnamdi Kanu did not say this. I want somebody to come out and tell me that I never said it. I want somebody to come out and tell me that I never said such a thing. I want somebody to come out and say it, because our people don't understand. I said this thing 6th of February 2014. When your so-called pastor and preacher was busy running around looking for who will give him money, so he'll build auditorium of 4 billion people. On this very radio station, this very platform, I was telling you the truth of what is to come. And I was very clear. On the 6th of February 2014, I said on Radio Biafra, Fulani herdsmen will be armed and encouraged to slaughter us with impunity, and their masters will protect them. Their masters, I told you, very concise prophecy. I don't beat around the bush. Oh, so 2 senators will die. That's rubbish. I tell you what is going to happen before it happens. There is no other person on this earth with this same vision. I say it with every author. There is no person on this earth that can see what I can see. And the person hasn't been born. That's why Elohim said, I have taken your parents from you because their job is done, to clear the way for you to do what you need to do. By every means to restore Biafra. I said this thing on the 6th of February 2014. Fulani headsmen will be armed and encouraged to slaughter us with impunity, and their masters will protect them. Okowa is saying today that soldiers are the ones escorting the killers through our farms in Delta. Our mothers are being killed, our crops destroyed, everything decimated. And you're telling me that you're from Delta. You're telling me I'm a Nigerian. You're an animal. You are an animal, I tell you. They say, oh, I should take it easy. The world. Let the world listen to our stupidity. Maybe we can change. If the world can understand how foolish we are, maybe the shame can make us to change. Now that Okowa is saying it, you believe him? Now they have panicked, they have removed the link from Vanguard. But I told you the truth. I told you the truth. That they will come and they will protect them. Let me go on to what I said. I said, they are coming to ensure that my people, of course, Biafran people, are enslaved forever. Those who do not believe me will soon see it happen. I told you that it will happen before your eyes. You will see it with your two eyes, but you'll be too blind to see it. You'll be blinded by envy, greed, and jealousy. Why must it be Nnamdi Kanu? Why IPOB? Why that? Because it's a divine, it's from heaven. You cannot do anything. Oh, there is nothing you can do about it. Nothing. Nothing you can do about it. I made it very, very clear. Unequivocally clear. They are coming to ensure you're enslaved. What is happening today? They are coming to elevate Fulani supremacy. People are saying today, oh, Fulanization. I warned you. I said, I called it by name. When I get divine revelation, everything is clear, broad daylight, clear. Everything I tell you comes to pass. I told you that they have come to Fulanize you. Before you started shouting Fulanization agenda, Islamization agenda, Khan is now jumping up. I warned them. But they didn't listen. They said he's insulting. You're a fool. Why won't I insult you? And why shouldn't I insult you? Who are you that I won't insult you if you're foolish? So if you're foolish, I'll come and tell you, oh, you're very brilliant. Those are for psychophants. We're not psychophants here. This is IPOB. A family ordained by heaven itself to restore Biafra. People will beg. I'm telling you, people will pay. They will beg for the name IPOB to be associated with them so that their children will not laugh at them in time to come and will tell them it's too late. It's very, very late. I told you they have come to reposition the security agencies by sacking all competent hands and replacing them with their kinsmen to drive ethnic domination of Biafrans and other tribes in the zoo called Nigeria. I warned you, I told you, I spelled it out by name. I did not mince words. If you find anybody who can match this level of consistency and accuracy in their prophecies and prediction, I will resign my leadership of IPOB. Anywhere in the world, I'm not talking about those Akana Bandianis Wushi, all these Pentecostal robes you have in the zoo. If there is anybody anywhere in the world, any seer, any prophet anywhere on this planet Earth, the third planet from the sun, that can match our level of consistency and accuracy of prediction, I will resign. Everything I tell you about Nigeria is true. I have no need nor reason to lie. If you don't believe me, wait until they cut off the head of your relative in the farm, and then you run back and say, oh, what is happening is not good. Oh, this Nigeria. I will tell you, I told you so. I told you so. Then you will understand. We are chosen to do this very work. We are chosen to do it. Nothing more, I said chosen from heaven itself. Chosen to do this very work we are doing now. Don't think we woke up one morning and decided, oh, let's go and let us try and do Biafra. No, it's by force. And that is why everything I say comes to pass. I said, there is nobody on this earth. I don't care if they are prophets, seer, soothsayer, people involved in divination. Nobody can match our level of accuracy. No human being on this earth. I said nobody can match it. Do you know, when I said that Biafra will come, I gave an interview in Los Angeles, in Beverly Hills, to Town Hall News, if some of you can remember. And I said that under Obama, under a Democratic president in America, Biafra can never come. He will come under a Republican. Watch and see what is going to happen. As they say in our place, and today we are telling our people, don't defend. We are going to defend ourselves. Understand the trick our enemies are playing. Understand it. They said here, the proscribed IPOB has called on residents of Southeast to prepare. No. If you're reading this, it is false. We are calling on all the Eastern region. Isn't it very funny? Some of you don't reason, but I will help you to reason. Isn't it very funny? When it comes to the north, they say it's north. Even Biafra land in Benue and in Kogi, they say it's all north. But when it comes to us, they use, I'm very sorry to say, some Yorubas have repented, but their journalists, they are yet to repent. Somebody should translate it for them in English so they understand it. No matter how you cure a madman, you see him murmuring, you can never cure it. No matter how well the Yorubas have repented, there are some elements within their media that lunacy, that murmuring is still in their brain. You will never go away. That's why somebody wrote, the proscribed IPO has called on residents. Who told you that? Did you not attend? Did you not see what happened at my parents' funeral? People came from, I said Bakassi. People came from Bakassi, the area that Obasanjo gave away to Cameroon. That is today the home of Ambazonia, our cousins. They came from all the way from there. Did you see a banke in my place? So how can you be saying it's Southeast? Why do these people specialize in peddling falsehood all the time? IPOB is fighting for the goal of Biafra land, not Southeast. Who told you that? Did you see a Gala chiefs and the banker chiefs in my place? What is all this nonsense? What is this obsession? And I want to warn our people, especially those Fulefus that have spent their lives serving the Fulani Caliphate. I want to warn you very carefully. We cannot protect ourselves. We must all protect our region. If you go it alone, you will fail. If your job goes it alone, it will fail. Right as I'm speaking, be writing it down one after the other. Anybody who tries to divide the East, we would fail. They will conquer our land. United, we can stop them. Together, we can stop them. This nonsense of Southeast Security Group, that rubbish needs to come to an end. Because BSS will do the needful. All these division is what they want you to do. They form their Shegedam Banza in the north. The whole of the north. The whole of the west is only you people. Oh, we're in Southeast. We're in South. It's an Igbo affair. It's a job. It's Ogoni. You are foolish. You never learn anything. Since 1967, they divide you and they kill you. They divide you. You have never learned anything. They kill Sawiwa, you never learned anything. They killed Adakaboro, you never learned anything. They killed Chubokadigo, you never learned. You don't learn. You people do not learn. You do not learn. You do not learn anything. Divided, you fall. Divided, you fall. If you allow the enemies to dictate who your brother is, you are finished. If you allow them to define who your sisters are, you are gone forever. Stop all this nonsense. Alibo, this, all this Southeast is rubbish. You cannot defend yourself. If they take South, we are gone. Simple logic, simple common sense. Simple common sense. They are twisting what we said. So you're telling me, is somebody seriously telling me that Anioma? Is somebody telling me that Anioma Thank you for somebody have raised it from the Punch newspaper. Of course, it's still there in the Punch one. Vanguard have run and deleted that. Vanguard that I used to have respect for. Why are they doing this? I don't understand. It's the truth. Fulani soldiers. Let me ask you this way. Can you imagine Jonathan in power with all the commanding officers in Chirika, all the top officers, from Biafra land, and 4 terror groups will emerge from Biafra land from the east and go to the north and be killing people. And you have this. By now, Britain will bomb the whole of Biafra. Britain will have bombed everybody to smithereens. But look at them. And tomorrow morning you say, I'm a Nigerian. I'm sure some of you will, out of stupidity and hopelessness. Some of you will tomorrow, I'm a Nigerian. No, we Nigerians. But your so-called Nigerian army, they are not fighting Boko Haram in the north. They are in my compound, laying siege in my compound. I've heard some people who have come out. We command Nigerian army. Commanding them for what? Is their job not to go and fight terrorists in the north? You command them. Can you see how we reason? We are fighting for everybody. For everybody. For everybody. At last, our people are rising up. All their commissioner of police is good for is to say, IPOB is giving us problem. It is IPOB. Remember this same commissioner of police in Delta State? Fighting IPOB for no reason. When we go out, he will try. And what is his name? His name is Hafiz Inua. Hafiz. All the way from Sokoto. They bring him to Delta. Why won't he support his brothers that want to take our land and hand over to wandering Fulani headsmen all over West Africa? Why not? Do you now see why they have Fulani police commissioners everywhere? The exception is the likes of Okon, who is a boy. All he wants is promotion. I want to be AIG. All he wants is to be promoted. He will do anything. Like Iwanya with them. Look at Iwanya advising us on security. Can you believe that? Can anybody in their right mind believe that? All the fulefus that are now gathering, we need that security. When IPOB was saying it, what did you do? You joined the enemies to try and destroy the work of God. And God said to IPOB, wait, let me teach them a lesson. So they'll come and look for you. Today they're looking for us, but they cannot find us. Let them go and form now, let us see. It's a challenge. I want to let them know how disciplined IPOB is. I challenge any governor to float anything and see if you got up to 100 people there. It's an order. Don't join them. Because we warned them. We have died because of what they have now seen. And when we were dying, they were laughing at us. Oh, they're wasting their lives. They're coming out on the streets and they're wasting their lives. Now you have seen why they wasted their lives. Your lives not now being wasted by Fulani jihadists, by Fulani terrorists in our bushes. Are your lives not being wasted? People were laughing at Biafrans during the war. Oh, can't you see? I remember Zeke when he was stabbing Ojukwu in the back. I don't want to see pictures of children who are emaciated, children who are starving, and he's supposed to be an elder there, whatever rubbish they used to call him. Azikiwe. I won't call him Nnamdi because he doesn't behave like somebody who has the name of Nnamdi. Nnamdi is a very glorious name. My Redeemer liveth. You don't think of the name Nnamdi. Go and look for it. My Redeemer liveth. He didn't behave like one. He was busy. Exactly that disease we have in our brain. Instead of him to mellow down and say, let us see the support we can give to Ojukwu for the survival of our race, he said no. Picture of little today, what is happening in the north? Remember the word refugee was associated with Biafra? Today you have refugees in Quantum in the north. Hunger is in the north. Poverty is in the north. Because as I warned the Fulanis, they didn't hear a few weeks ago. Let me warn you again. I want to warn Abba Kyari. Abba Kyari, God has hardened you because you are the president of Nigeria. Buhari is dead. He buried in Saudi Arabia. We all know that. Only an idiot who pretends otherwise. Let me tell you something. God will harden your heart because of where you are, the little money you're getting, your hotels in Dubai and all your private investments in England. You think maybe nothing can happen to you. Let me assure you that the more all of you gang up against Biafra, the more Fulani lands in the north. I feel sorry for my Hausa brethren because they will suffer it. If Hausas have any brain in their skull, they should distance themselves from the Fulanis, as hard as it may be, because I can write it. What is the time? The time now is 29 to is 29 to 9 in the evening in Biafra land. Write it down. I am telling you today that God will destroy Nigeria. If Hausas do not remove themselves from the Fulanis, they will also be destroyed. Write it down on a piece of paper. When it happens, I will come back here and tell you, I told you. The only solution, the only remedy is to let Biafra go. As long as you hold on to Biafra, what Pharaoh suffered will fade into insignificance compared to what shall befall all of them. Anybody siding the Fulanis will be consumed. And then you know that I don't do what I do out of any strength of mine. It's by the grace of Elohim. They are in Delta, killing people. The President General, Uweru Community Association in Ughelli North, Cassidy Akpedafe, has faulted the State Commissioner of Police, Hafiz Inuwa's claim that no one was killed in the attacks by headsmen. Can you see that? That is why they are there. And anytime I travel to the US, or I tell the senators in the US, can you see they're killing us? They'll say, oh no, but the Commissioner of Police, he's a law enforcement officer. He said no one was killed. Do you now see the reason why they give you Fulani Commissioner of Police? So when there are people, their own army, Fulani army, escorted into our farms, they rape, they kill, and they run to the police and say, oh, nobody was killed. And that's the end of it. And tomorrow you tell me, we are Neoma, we are not Hebrew, we are in the middle, we are in the middle belt or in the end of the belt. I don't know what they call it. I don't know who gave birth to those people. I don't know who. I just don't know. Anyway, is the relics of the war, I would say. All those nonsense that their mother carried them in the stomach, carrying Fulani babies. They give birth to them. They name them Okechukwu, Ikechukwu. Just name them from Anyoma. They just you don't know you are looking at a Janjaweed Alamajiri. But with an Igbo name. You don't know that. Some of them with a John name. You don't know. You are looking at an incarnation of what's his name? Albanawi. But his only name is his Spiff or Dabiri. He's answering Dabiri, but you don't know that the blood, the bone is that of Albanawi. You don't know? You see them writing nonsense. You think they're normal? These are Fulani people that the soldiers that came down during the war pregnated their mothers and their sisters, and they gave birth to rubbish all over the place. That's how you know them. That is how you know them. Mad people everywhere. They have sent out. Now, if you're saying now to the world, they are killing us in Delta, they will say, but the police commissioner said nobody was killed, and BBC will quote him. BBC will say, these are lies. IPOB is lying. Nobody was killed. But our dear brother Cassidy Akpedafe is saying that people were killed in his village. And that is how the zoo goes. And nobody will remember. Nobody will ask any questions. And that is the end of it. Very, very sad indeed. I mentioned this the last time, and please allow me to do so again. Our own security is coming for the entire East, for the entire Biafra land, not Southeast, not South, as all of us together. One, to defend the frontier. The best line of defense will be mounted in Kogi and in Benue. That is our line of defense. Not in Nembe. You cannot be in Nembe saying, oh, we are fighting herdsmen in Nembe. We are fighting herdsmen in Okrika. It's too late. They have already breached our defenses. It's common sense. You don't need to go to military school to know that. Together as one people, we mount a line of defense in Kogi and in Benue. They will not come in. Very simple. But if you keep doing your nonsense, we want to float an Igbo group. It's called Obunigwe. We want to float an Ijaw group. It's called heaven knows what. All this rubbish. You are wasting your time. You are wasting your time. That was the nonsense we tried. They killed Sarawiwa. Nothing happened. Before him, they killed Adakaboro. Nothing happened because you were being very parochial in my village. Let me do my own thing. And I've said this, but allow me to say it again. Had every heavyweight in the East come out to say, don't touch Kensaro, nobody would have touched him. It's like that. It's just as simple as that. All this nonsense. We are doing our own. Let's do our own. You are not going anywhere. The enemies will come and they will decimate you. And nothing will happen. Forget the world. Nothing will happen. The world continues to revolve around the sun. And nothing will happen. And that will be the end of it. So together as one indomitable family, we are moving ahead. And you know, as I said before, you know our God is miraculous. As they're busy killing us, their nemesis is busy massacring them in the north. In Katsina, 30 people dead. I'm not happy about it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not happy. Heaven forbid, no. I don't like people losing their lives. So it's of no meaning. But in Katsina, 30 people killed, houses destroyed by terrorists because the army is busy conquering territories for Alamajiri and for headsmen in the south. They are in Isama Faruku running around with armored personnel carriers instead of going to confront what is confronting them in the north. They are in the south fooling themselves and not us. 30 people dead in the same Nigeria that you occupy, in the same Nigeria you claim is one country, in the same Nigeria you are claiming you will die for. In fact, it's actually 33 were killed. In fact, not even 30. 33 killed in Katsina. Very, very sad indeed. Every blessed day, the news is getting worse. And some people will come out to say, oh, we want to defend Buhari's regime, or more or less like Abakiari's regime. And as the people are killing 30 people, 100 people, 35 people, kidnapping all over. Some of you have heard what Shekau said about Buhari, how they went and conjured up, rustled up some girls from somewhere and said they are Chibok girls, when Shekau is holding the real Chibok girls. And some of you are laughing and having symposium and having dinner on Chibok girls. There's progress. I don't know how people won't understand this, seriously speaking. I'm really disappointed. Very, very disappointed with some people, honestly. Very, very highly disappointed. Look at them. They released the same people killing. The same people today that killed our people in Delta. Should perchance they arrest them. In fact, if you want to join the army now, as a Fulani Muslim or Janjaweed, Alamajiri on the street, if you want to join the army, you no longer take exams or go to NDA or go to any military training. No, all you need to do is to get the nearest AK-47, go into the bush and start killing people. Declare yourself a Boko Haram. They take you, put you in a very good school, feed you, change your clothes, and now you go into the army. Yourself and your brothers, you're struggling. I want to pass NDA. Whereas there's a very simple route into NDA. Become a terrorist and you join the Nigerian army. Isn't that very easy? The only place in the world where the army is fighting terrorists, they capture them, they are now their colleagues the next day. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that the life of animals in a zoo? Tell me why Nigeria is not a zoo. Can anybody just explain it to me? They don't understand it. Why we are releasing Boko Haram terrorists, defense headquarters of Nigeria, they are releasing them. They are joining the army. They say that they have a softly approach. But to bury my father is a problem, and my mom. It's a big problem. It's a national security. Go and kill, go and destroy. But those who are actually killing people, destroying lives and properties, they are being released. Isn't that amazing? That is the one Nigeria that Britain gave to all of you. And you're jumping and up and down. I am a Nigerian. Do you see why I call you an animal in a cage in a zoo called Nigeria? It is everywhere. I'm very glad that even who is this from Punch On is still up and running. The soldiers, you know them now. Some Yoruba journalists should learn how to write the truth. When it concerns Yoruba, the death of Professor Anti, they wrote, when it came to Amotekun, they were writing. I don't like it. That is one thing I don't like about some Yoruba journalists. They must repent. What is allegedly added? When people were supporting you during the death of the Afarifere elder, can't you people for once reciprocate what is nice? Why are Yoruba? Why are some of them just plain horrible people? Can't it just be civil for once? What is allegedly added? Alleged. People are dying and saying allegedly. Do you think Okowa will come out and say something that is not real or something that is incorrect when he owes his position to the caliphate? Sometimes I don't know if it is Boko Haram and the terrorists who are suffering, or some sections of Yoruba media. You people are evil. You must repent. This is it in your nature? Do you have it in your? Must you be horrible? When something affects the Yoruba, everybody will rise up and come to their defense. When it affects other people, they keep writing allegedly, alleged. What nonsense is that? Some of these Yoruba journalists, they must repent, honestly speaking. Your people have moved on, you must move on with them. Yorubas have repented. Their journalists must also repent. You people are the one aiding the iniquity in the zoo by your careless writing, your stupid writing rubbish all the time, allegedly. People are dead, you're saying allegedly. You have seen the corpses everywhere, you're saying allegedly. What sort of horrible human beings are these? Huh? Unbelievable. Gosh. Somebody wrote very clearly, as I said before, everything. No, I won't say most. Fajuyi died because of Fajuyi Ironsi. Yorubas are good people, especially those from the Ekiti State. They're good people. But there are some people, I think they're from Kwara. I think I will advise all the proprietors in Yoruba, don't employ any journalist that is Yoruba Muslim from Kwara State. Their blood have mixed with Alamatri. Anytime you say Yoruba, alleged, you see the truth and you're writing alleged. It's from Kwara State, Yoruba Muslim. Akintola Brigade. You can never, ever reform those people. Never, ever. And when I used to say things about the governors in the Southeast, and by extension all of them, people said I insult the governors, you work with them, don't work with them. But somebody has written a very compelling piece. It's very sad indeed. Very, very sad. That despite all their intellectualism, their sociocultural groups, their so-called technocrats and all the nonsense they have, they can't come together to say to themselves, at least, IPOB was right. IPOB is correct. What we did was wrong. We apologize, which is the only manly thing to do. When I do something wrong, I apologize. They can't apologize to say we have wronged IPOB. You people have been right all along. For that reason, we apologize. No, they can't do it. Form security group. For we get together and agree on something? Of course not. Because their phones are open. As they're deliberating, their guy in Sokoto is listening. These are the people you call leaders, supported by all these people that I don't know who pregnanted their mothers, all of them. Very sad indeed. But we pray for them and we hope they change. We pray for them. We pray for them. We pray for them. This is Radio Biafra. We're live and we're very direct. Our program is coming to an end very, very shortly. But there are people who are detained in Anambra. I am asking the governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, to ensure that our community leaders are arrested as a result of the death of terrorists, that they are released. Our elders were arrested in Anambra, community elders they are. Very, very important. The name is he is the Deputy President General of Ifite Ogware community in Ayamelum, local government area of Anambra. His name is Chief Nwora Ikala. Ikala is the name is not very straight. Ikala, I think it is. And the town chief security officer, Mr. Michael Akamala. They have been detained though in Anambra State. Oh. Isn't it very strange? In the same Anambra, where our mothers are being killed, raped, people beheaded all the time, there is no Fulani terrorist in detention. But if you go to detention, our people trying to defend our villages, they are the ones that Obiano gave order to arrest. Can you understand? Can any of you understand this? I don't know how I don't know how we come upon these people. I have no idea. I have no idea. They're in detention, and I'm calling for their release. They must be released. They've done nothing wrong. They come to the village, they just arrest anybody they see. Do you see why our place needs tidying up? Sanitization to clean it, because traitors are plentiful in our midst. I told people that Buhari is dead. They said no. I told you Buhari is dead. I told you that the president of Nigeria is one Abakari. You did not believe me. But I want to give you, we are coming to him. We are coming to joy. You think I let Jibril go? Of course not now. It's not possible. We are compelling our evidence. Brand new, fresh evidence. So that some Yoruba journalists will say, we have checked it. It is a fact check. I want to prove to the whole world that Buhari is gone, buried like a pauper in a grave somewhere in Saudi Arabia. I want to prove it to all of you tonight. I will never get tired of preaching this, because you know why? It is the truth. I will never get tired of preaching it. I will tell you this every blessed day, so that the day the world will reveal it, I will tell you, I told you so. And that is why I call you animals in a zoo. Why am I saying what I'm saying? It's from this. I think news is even better when you read it from Yoruba, so they will believe it. The Nigeria Security Agency, NSA, some of you know them, have now told service chiefs, which means Buratai and all the rest of them, Army Chief of Staff, Air Defense Staff, Naval Staff, and whoever, the Defense Minister, whoever he is. They have been told, do not take order from Abakari. Why would a whole national security advisor tell service chiefs, do not take order from an ordinary chief of staff to the president? What does that tell you? What does that? Of course, I know that for us, reasoning comes at a premium. It's very difficult for us to reason, considering where we come from in Africa. But I'm asking you this evening, why would a whole national security advisor go on record to say to service chiefs like Buratai, stop taking orders from Abakari, because Abakari is the president? Does that not make any sense? Let me read it for you so you understand. It's in the national news, so you can Google anything that I'm saying and see if it is true or false. The National Security Advisor, Baba Gana Monguno, has directed service chiefs to desist from taking orders from Buhari's Chief of Staff, Abakari. Is that not clear? How can you have a commander-in-chief in power, a viable one for that matter, and the Chief of Staff will be giving orders? Can you imagine, like, as Trump is Chief of Staff of Trump giving orders to Air Force, to Navy, and to the Army? Is that possible? What does that tell you? What does that tell you, Nigerians? What does that tell you? In your empty brain, empty Nigerian brain, full of idiocy, suffering and smiling. You have nothing in your brain. What does this tell you? Some of you complain too much. I insult you. Why won't I insult you? You're a fool. Why won't I insult you? You're an animal. Why won't I insult you? The president's so-called chief of staff is giving orders to the army, to the navy, to the police, to everybody. And you can't ask questions. What type of president do you have that the chief of staff is running the country, but you won't ask? You're Nigerians. Buhari went to Bruno. He's traveling to London for sleep. He's going to this place for help. He's going to that place for... You're not ashamed of yourself. All of you. They say he's going to London. We need to give him a slight IPOB reception in London. Then he will know that we have not forgotten that he is Jubril al-Sudani. That is not from me. It's from a Yoruba paper. He should stop giving orders. Who gives orders? It's not the chief of state. It's not the commander-in-chief. Abba Kyari is messing around with all of you, so-called 200 million people, playing with your brain, and all of you are too blind. You see Buhari today, he's dark. Tomorrow he is a 45-year-old, and you are still there. Buhari went to... You can't ask questions. Who is this young boy I'm seeing? This is not Buhari. Ordinary comparison, compare and contrast, they cannot do. Because they paid newspapers to cover up their nonsense. Oh, nobody wants to say. It's just what is happening to Nigeria is what is happening to Southeast governors now. Nobody wants to say that IPOB has been right all along. Nobody wants to say that, oh, we are very sorry. You know, we misunderstood what Nnamdi Kanu was saying. He's been right all along. They can't say it. That's out of shame. Out of shame. There's something with Nigeria. Out of shame, they cannot come round to the fact that Buhari is not, this Jubril is not, they cannot. Hey, so the world will say that Nnamdi Kanu has been right all along. Hey, we can't do it. Oh, instead, let us die here. And that's why they're all dying. Out of shame. They're all dying. Chief of Staff is giving order to the Army and to the Navy. And it's normal in this modern world. And you're telling me you're a human being? Of course you're not. Of course you're not. Of course you're not. That brings us to the end of our program this very evening. I thank all of you for listening, but I have very, very important announcement to make. And before I do so, I must thank everybody once again who contributed in no little measure to ensure the success of the burial of my parents. I thank especially those that went to Afaruku, those that went to Mwahia. Oh my goodness. After everything, you'll be killed, you'll be shot dead. The cowards stayed away. The brave people attended. And they made it something memorable that the world will never forget. I'm sure it is only our head of state, Ojukwu, that received such a burial. As they said, they have never seen anything like that before. Never. That united the whole family from across the spectrum. From Bakassi to Ebanke, they came. This IPOB is indeed one family. This is a very special announcement in preparation for the defense of Biafra land, which I will announce very, very shortly. I repeat, in preparation for the defense of Biafra land, which IPOB, I will announce it in the coming weeks. I want people to understand this. There are some people who may not understand. If they are not listening, please inform them. In Biafra land security hierarchy, the volunteer command is preeminent. I repeat, our volunteer command is number one. It is the, I don't want to use the word apex, it is the number one in the hierarchy of groups, or should I say the defense information that we have in IPOB. Before, let me repeat very carefully, before you are selected to join the other branches we have, which is BSS and our intelligence gathering, which is the M branch, before you can join BSS or the M branch, you must first of all be a volunteer under the command of the volunteer. You must be from volunteer. You now go to, we then decide those who are credible enough to go to BSS and those who go to M branch. Very, very important. You understand this. I've heard of people, they run off to one side and they say, oh, we are BSS. That is rubbish. Pure rubbish. You must all belong to volunteer. From volunteer, we now pick out those who will go to BSS and those that will go to M branch, depending on your performance. I hope this clears up everything. All these people running around saying that BSS is this rubbish. Everybody comes under one central command, the volunteer command. From there, you go to BSS. From there, you go to the M branch. It's as simple as that. I want to make this abundantly clear. You must first of all be a volunteer before you become BSS, or you become a member of the M branch, which I credit with so much high value intelligence coming our way, which is why we have always defeated the zoo at every turn that we encounter them. I thank you all very much for listening. This very glorious family, this indefatigable family, this very family that is rewriting history on a daily basis, this very IPOB. I salute all of you and I salute your courage. I salute your devotion. I salute your dedication. I salute your patriotism. Here on Radio Biafra is where we worship, because Chukwu Okike Abiama Benigwe Elohim Adonai El Shaddai is our God. We worship no other person, no other entity apart from one God, indivisible in heaven. That is why IPOB will succeed where others have failed. Because he said, I'm a jealous God, I do not share my glory. That's what he said. I don't share it with anyone. And his words are yea and amen. Never changes from eternity to eternity. We worship only one God, Elohim. In heaven. And Biafra is our religion. Never forget that. From me, from here, it is good evening.